Hey Paul, how you doing? Cool, nice, nice. Yeah, going fishing later on. I see a brown pelican out there. Yep, brown pelican. Hey, you know what? You know what's unique about a pelican? Its beak can hold more than its belly can. Welcome to another episode of the Mighty Code Coder. I'm Rob Fitzgerald, here to make you great and help you innovate. In this episode, another AWS Project Day. We're going to start coding. Well, maybe just look at code or copy code, use slugs. Yes, we will make our way into Cloud 9 today and play with some code, finally. Great, Paul. Put that pen away. I want to show you how to set up a basic HTML and CSS page like we did with the South Hills website back in the day. This will get you built for speed because I want to use the same methods that we deployed years ago after plenty of practice. Yes, basically flattening your learning curve like no other. So let's get started. All right, so I think it benefits us if we use Chrome. So I will now open up a Chrome browser. All right, and the first thing I want to do is show you the South Hills website. And here is the South Hills. This is just the main page, okay? So I just want to show you how we organized it to, like we saw on other sites, how we compartmentalized everything in nice tiles. All right, so let me open up the main.html, which is right here. Now this is like your index.html page. We called it main. All right, and this looks like this is the Mighty Code Coder site. We've been working on it, and so let me actually take this stuff out of here and show you what it looks like without all this stuff. Okay, so I'll take all this stuff out. All right, and I will also not have this banner in there. I'll save that and I'll switch back over to Chrome and I'll hit R on the browser and that's pretty much it. Okay, so that's it. That's all I have is a broken link because I don't have the South Hills logo anymore. There was nothing in there. And then what I want to do is basically show you the structure of both the HTML and the CSS so you get the strength of it. And that doesn't look very strong, I get it, but it'll look a lot better as I keep going. All right, so let's go ahead. And if I was going to go ahead in the past, if I was going to go ahead and edit this, I would come in here and I'd open with Sublime. Okay, and Sublime's nice because it's color coded, so you know the red is the elements and the green is the attributes and the yellow are the values of those attributes. All right, and it has the regular slugs, the HTML, head, title, body, but as you go down, you will start seeing these div tags. This is short for division. This is how they divide up the sections. And we started on the South Hill site with 2 back-to-back divs. And I'm going to show you how that worked a second on the board, but let me go through it. So the first div aligns everything in the center, and the second div adds a class white page. Class. Anytime you see a class on an HTML page, it's talking about a CSS page. And you know if it has a CSS page, if it has a link element in it. And here's a link. The attribute is href, a hyperreference, and this takes you to that hyperreference page, that main.css, which we have right here. So let's go ahead and drag this one in here and take a look at it. So here is our CSS page, okay? And you could see if I go down, it should have a class that is white page, and it does. It's a class if it's a dot, okay? And there's another style of section here, and it's called a hashtag. A hashtag nav divide. This is an ID. So a element could have a class and an ID. All right, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so you can see this second div has a white page, and then within the second div, there's something called a table. And a table is just like an Excel spreadsheet table with rows and columns. And you see they have a table row, and not a table column, but table data inside the row. All right, and then if you want another row, you got to close it and start another row, and then another table data. And you can see in the site, my students, we left comment code. This is where navigation goes. And then the navigation was brought in with another file, and all of our files we wrote ASP, active server pages. So each student or group was in charge of that active server pages, updating it, and then the main page would take it back in. Here's where content went. We had a main features section that come in, all right, and then another comment section. All right, so that is how the South Hills site broke down, and I'm going to give you both this and the CSS without these includes in there and let you see if you can maneuver it to fit perfectly with your site. But let's go to the board so I can draw it up so you can see more clearly what's happening. Okay, so over here, and I want to go ahead and draw the site up for you. And so if I scroll, make a web page, remember web pages are more tall than wide now. And this is the first div. Okay, so I div that and I said align center in there. So this centers everything on the page. And what I'm seeing out there is everybody has the same thing. They want to center their page. All right, I do the next div, and it uses a dot white page. Now, why do we do it? If you look at all the attributes in the white page, it makes sure that when I scrunch this page down, or if someone opened it up in a smaller browser window, and then they scrunch it up, that all the text doesn't get scrunched up into one tiny column like that. Okay, and that's what could happen. And remember, we were doing this in the day where everybody watched or looked at web pages on the computer. There was no such thing as a phone or a tablet. And so we had to deal with different browsers, Firefox, Chrome, Explorer, maybe even Netscape. It was a long time ago. And every time someone opened it, it would look different. And depending on how big they open their window, it might scrunch it down. And we felt really kind of unprofessional if we did things like that. So we came up with this center and white page, and it keeps you from getting scrunched down. All right. The next thing that we have in there is basically tables. All right. And tables have rows and columns, just like your Excel worksheet does. Okay. Something like this. Okay. And each row is a table row. All right. And each section in here is table data. Okay, TD, 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 TD. All right, so rows go across like a football stadium, and columns go down like the columns of the White House, and across is TR, and down is a TD. However, we don't create a table that big. We only create a TR and a TD. That's it, just a one cell table. All right, so ours looks like this on this site, okay? And it's not that small, okay? It's not that small. We actually make it across the entire white page. All right, so we actually went across like this. All right, one giant TD, okay? And so when you put stuff in the TD, all right, it grows. So this will grow. And when you take stuff out, it will shrink down. All right, up and down. Because you didn't know what was going to come into. You didn't know what kind of data was coming into. Remember, we were doing active server pages, so it was dynamic. So you didn't know how much someone would type in and submit, and you didn't want it to break or have a lot of blank space. All right, so we wanted this thing to snap to the amount of information that was being provided to the table. All right, so we had ones like that. We might, and if you saw it, if you look at the HTML, you see that we have another table in there, and maybe another table in there, and one is for the nav, one is for a featured section, and then what is just for content. Okay, and we just had this thing growing and going up and down and up and down, and then we had people that wrote ASP sending it in there. All right, so we basically wrote a website. We didn't know what was going to come in. It depends on who was going to open up a form and hit submit and then put it in there. So we had to have this thing dynamically go up and down. All right, and this does it. This is first time ever revealed. You guys are going to get the files. They're fantastic. It took me years and took us years to figure out what's the best way to do it. This is the best way, and you're getting it. Okay, so that does it for the board, the Chalk Talk, and let's head back over. All right, back over here. Hi, Paul. How you doing? Everybody, you doing great? Everything's still great? All right, cool. All right, so that was the South Hill site. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you the Mighty Code Coder site because that's closer to what I'm going to give you. Remember, you're not going to have anything like this. So let me close this, and I'll leave the browser open, and I'll just open up the Mighty Code Coder site. And again, I will go ahead and click on the HTML page and show you closer to what yours is going to look like. And so here it is. There's a div white page. And you can see I have a Mighty Code Coder banner in there. Here's where the navigation goes. Here's where content goes. None of the ugly stuff. In fact, at the bottom I put copyright 2020. Okay, and you could change all this to your heart's desire. Okay, remember it is controlled by the CSS page, which is also going to be in here and given to you. All right. And if we wanted to, I could go ahead and run this and show you what it looks like. I'll double click on this. And there it is right there. Okay, so there's the Mighty Code Coder. It has the banner in there. Let's put some content in there and see if it actually will expand as we suspect. Okay, so I will come it down here, and this is where the content goes. So I will put some stuff in there. In order to do that, I will go to a very special place in my heart called dummy text. Okay, you can actually find dummy text if you need a lot of text and don't want to type it all. All right, you can go to this place, and I could get let's get three paragraphs. That should be enough. All right, and this looks like Latin. I don't know if it is. I think it's just dummy text. I could copy it and go back to Sublime and then just paste it in there. All right. So there's a bunch of text. You can't even read it. You see, I don't even know what all that is. What is this? It's just gibberish. Okay. But I'm going to save it. All right. And then in order to go ahead and preview it, I got to go back to the site, and I have to, actually it was on Safari, and I have to refresh it. And there it is. Okay. And if you look, it expanded. All right, and nothing broke. It looks pretty good. If I go like this, it doesn't scroll into a single column of text. The only problem with it is not centered. Okay, so let's center it. Let's go to Sublime, and this TD, this table data, it's actually centered. Let's not center it. It should be left aligned, right? Don't we read with stuff that we don't read stuff that's centered. We read that's left aligned. Let's save that. Go back to this, hit refresh, and oh, there it is. That's nice. You know what's bad is I don't really like reading with a colored background. So it'd be nice if that changed to white. Okay, so where do we change the color to white? Well, we do it all on the CSS page. That's the best place to do it. If you have design elements throughout your HTML and throughout your CSS, and then you want to change something, you get kind of bogged down. So where the background is in the white page in this class. So let's go into it. And so here is the white page, and this is the color right there. Let's just make it white. Now remember, the first two are red, the second two are green, and the third is blue. So if we wanted everything to be white, that means turn everything on full blown and just have a whiteout, it would be the lowest is 0, 0, the highest is FF. So we go FF at red, FF green, and FF blue. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can now save that. And now I can refresh it. Now there it is. It's white with black text, which is the best contrast, like I told you guys before. But remember how I had that align left? That's not the way you should do it. Okay, so if I go back to this HTML page and I go to this div and I align left, I shouldn't do that. I should make a class. Remember how we made the class for the white page, class white page? Well, I should make a class for this TD that aligns it left. In fact, I did just that. So if you come down here, here's TD. Actually, I have not done that yet. So let's actually do that now. So let's make a new TD and a new class for the TD. Let's say, let's call it align me. Okay, open a curly bracket, come down here. The attribute is going to be text align, and let's say left. Okay, so it's nice that it has code completion for me. So there it is, that's text should line left. I'm gonna save that, come back over to my TD, and instead of align left, I'll use that class. So I'll say class equals align me. Align me. Okay, in quotes. Remember the attribute does not have quotes, or the attribute does not have quotes, but the value does. So I'm going to command save that. And now I'm going to go back here, and if I refresh, it's left aligned. Okay, just to make sure that that worked, I will come over here and I will say center again. Okay, and I'll save it, and I'll come back here and I'll refresh, and it's centered. So now all my style is now in this CSS. So you're going to want to go through the CSS, change the style for what you want. More importantly, you're going to go to your style tile. Remember the colors you picked in your mood board, making your style tile with your mood board? You're going to go in and change some of these colors to match your style tile. Okay, so isn't that great? So now you control everything through CSS, but do you see how I'm going from Sublime, and then I'm tabbing over here, and then I'm hitting refresh, and then if you had to upload this to a web server, that's another step. That's craziness. That is, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going back to that old way of doing it. We're going to go to Cloud 9 and show you how all this happens now in Cloud 9. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so I will go to Chrome, and I will go to my bookmarks, and I will go into my AWS Educate account. You guys will go through your adhesive account. All right, and so here I will log in, and you will want to log in and go to Cloud9. Now, my recently visited services was Cloud9. Look at, S3. Why was I going to S3 also? Interesting, all this jives. All right, so if you type in the search board Cloud9, it shows up there, or you guys are now developers. So you go to developer tools, and you can see there's Cloud9 right there. All right, so we're going into Cloud9. Now I have this Mighty Fish Fisherman going already, and you're gonna wanna create your environment. I showed you that in the last video, but let's say you have your environment already open. Go ahead and click on Open IDE. I think I hit it. It says it's stopped, so I'll have to start it. Basically, this EC2 instance is a computer I told you yesterday. It's actually a web server. All right, so it's creating that web server up, and it's going to get your code, and it's going to run your code perfectly. So while this is getting connected, I'll just tell you, if I was to do a pathway of HTML developers or web developers, I would have my intro to computer science classes do HTML and CSS. I would have my AP computer science principal class do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So that's something they're tested on anyway. And then in my AP computer science A class, they would do HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and some kind of server technology like ASP or PHP. All right, so it started. There it is. I have nothing in there. So let's go ahead and make a new HTML page. So I'll go new from template, and this is the HTML page slug that I want. All right, and now I already have stuff in here. So what I'm going to do is go to this page here, and I'm going to select all, copy it, go back to my Cloud9, select all, paste it. There we go. All right, so it's saved in there, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. It's going to ask me what I want to save it as, and I'll save it. You could make it index.html because that's what we started with. I don't want to confuse you with the names. All right, so now this page, if I render it, it will be confused because I am linking a main.css, so we have to have that main.css page in there. So let's go File, New File from Template, just a text file, and that's where we will paste our CSS. All right, so I'll go back to my main.css, select all, copy, go back to my Cloud9, paste it. I will save it as main.css and hit save. All right, nice how it turns colors once you save it. All right, so I have my HTML, my CSS, and remember what it looked like when I ran it? It looked like this, so it should look like that. So let's go ahead and preview it. Now to preview it, you don't have to switch tab and go to a new browser, okay, or refresh the browser or anything like that. You just hit preview right here. Isn't that nice? So we will preview it right here in our browser, okay? And so preview. All right, and you look at it, and there it is, and oh, what's going on with it? Huh, it has a broken image here, and this is not centered. Let's actually take a look at this outside in a browser so I could scrunch it down to see if that scrunching's working okay. So here I am in another browser, and if I scrunch down, it looks pretty good. All right, it's not scrunching down. I don't like the center line, and I don't like that broken image. So let's fix at least the center right now. Remember, where do we fix the center at? We fix it on the Align Me page. Okay. Oh, I still have it as center. See that? So let's get that as a left. Isn't that easy to find problems when you have it organized like that? So now I come over here and just hit the refresh right there. And there it is, left aligned. Okay. And if I go to the browser window, I could see it's left aligned and it doesn't scrunch down. All right, now, how do I get that Mighty Code Coder banner up there? That's something we're going to talk about next time with your S3 bucket. But can you kind of see, can you extrapolate where we're going? You're going to have to get that image up to your S3 bucket, and then in your file, you're going to have to go ahead and make sure you link that, because right now it's trying to go on my desktop and look in my media folder for that banner. But that's going to be some S3 link. All right. So you can you guess where we're going with this? All right. So far, see if you can get that far with it. And soon you'll be changing colors to your brand and making your own images in Spark and uploading them to your S3 bucket and connecting them with your HTML. You see how the advanced thing goes? It's going to be kind of neat to see what you guys come up with. Either way, that is going to do it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, always trying to make you great and help you innovate. So until next time, Paul's okay. Tell them to comment if they have questions. Yeah. Comment below if you have questions. And you can also go to visit my website at themightycodecoder.com or find me on Twitter at mightycodecoder. Thank you for watching.